Hello. It is Lynx here, and today I'm going to be reading A Court of Your Peers and Your Mom by Terry Bomka on AO3. Today I will be reading Chapter 4, and all the same tags, warnings, and things like that apply. I'm so happy to be doing this, so without further ado, let's get into it. Chapter 4, The Love of Parents. Panicked, upset, and confused, Izuku ran. He didn't know where he was running, only that he had to move. He had to find comfort. And this time he couldn't go seek it out in his mom. This had never happened to him before. His mom has always been his best friend and most trusted confidant. It was breaking his heart that he couldn't seek her out, couldn't throw himself into her warm, loving arms, couldn't cry under her shoulder like the child he felt like and be told she loved him and everything would be okay, because for the first time in his life, he didn't know if that is what he would be met with. And that almost broke him. He couldn't lose his mom. He couldn't. Instead of running to her, he found himself at the park he and Kachan used to play at when they were little, when everything was less confusing and scary. He sat on the swings for a while, trying to slow his breathing and the pounding in his heart. He just wanted to be held and comforted so badly. He just wanted to feel safe. And then something occurred to him, a way he could still maybe get that comfort by proxy. And then he was up and moving again, going to the only place on Earth where he could think of that would be completely safe for him. 20 minutes later, Izuku was knocking on the front door of the Bakugo house. He started panicking again, realizing that if he was going to get the comfort he so badly needed, he would need to actually come out to Kachan's parents. They would be the first people he'd ever say the words out loud to. Logically, he knew it should be fine. They know about Kachan and he was loved so very much by them. But Izuku wasn't theirs. He didn't have that same protection. He didn't. Before he could spiral much further, the door opened. All it took was a simple second to see Masaru's warm brown eyes crinkle in a smile when he saw who paid a visit, before Izuku croaked out a choked, "Uncle," and immediately started sobbing. Masaru didn't even hesitate to wrap Izuku tight in his arms and hold him. He only shifted to call out to his wife, "Mitz, honey, could you please put on the kettle? Izuku's here and could use a cup of tea." Once he heard the click of Mitsuki's heels heading toward the kitchen and the call of excitement over his impromptu visit, Izuku let Masaru guide him inside the house and into the living room. He was really gonna do this. Once Izuku and Masaru were settled on one of the couches, it didn't take long for Mitsuki to appear with a tray of teacups for them all. She was in the process of a good-natured quip questioning what they did right to get such a lovely surprise visit, when she stopped suddenly as she took in the scene. Izuku pressed as far into Masaru's side as possible, covering his face, shoulders hunched and still shaking on silent sobs. Mitsuki was quick to set down the tray and settle into Izuku's other side, running her hands comfortingly through his now messy curls. "Oh, honey," she began, "I don't know what happened, but we got you. And if this is something our brat did, I assure you I will kick his ass to America and back." At the mention of Kachan, Izuku started sobbing in earnest, harder than he had been even immediately upon his arrival. Both adults went a little rigid at the reaction, both now aware of the past the boys shared, fearing that maybe she hit the nail a little too square on the head. "Izuku, son," Masaru probed gently, "did Katsuki do something? Is that why you came to us? We know things haven't already been the best for you two, but we thought they were better now? Were we wrong?" Between stuttering breaths, Izuku tried his best to assure them that this was not the case. "No, I promise. Caution didn't do anything bad." "Then why are you here, honey?" Mitsuki asked with a firm gentleness. "We absolutely love seeing you, but not like this. And if it isn't something our brat did, we need to know what is going on so we know how to help you. We can't help if we don't know." Izuku was silent for a long time, and they held space for that. Whether they could sense he needed the time to build up the strength, or if it was just parental instinct that kept them quiet while Izuku gathered himself, he wasn't sure. But after the longest minutes of his life, he finally whispered, I I love him." And then he immediately broke down once again. The relief of finally getting that off his chest, of finally saying it out loud, conflicting violently with the fear of rejection and losing this second family before inevitably losing his mom as well. Mitsuki and Masaru shared a heavy and complicated look over Izuku's crumpled form, the weight of what Izuku said being respected, while also trying to contain the pure joy of this sweet boy trusting them to be his safety net. They never really had to do this with Katsuki, but that didn't mean they didn't have a son in need of parental love and support currently crying into their laps. Instantly, they both swooped, gathering Izuku in their combined arms, telling him how proud they were of him for being so brave, for doing something so scary, something he'll never have to do alone if he didn't want to. Mitsuki was firm and steady at his side, continuously rubbing his back in a show of comfort and support, while Masaru showered parental kisses all over Izuku's head. They had him. They would not let him fall. They would let him stay like that until he felt he could uncurl and breathe again. The sobs were now mere sniffles. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, Izuku started, but he was swiftly cut off by Mitsuki. You have absolutely nothing to apologize for, and you will never need to apologize to us for having feelings. You think we're not used to Midoriya tears by now? Please, honey, we're pros. This finally got a small chuckle from Izuku. Izuku, son, Masaru began. You haven't told your mother yet, have you? No, Izuku whispered, hanging his head in shame. You're the first people I told, and we're so incredibly honored by that, sweet boy, Mitsuki added. But what made you think you had to come out to us before you could go to Inko? Pause. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. How did Katon come out to you guys? At this, Mitsuki started cackling and honest. Confused, Izuku looked between the two. Katsuki never actually had to come out to us formally. We've known since he was 5 years old, and he knew we knew. So we just kept on loving him, and he kept on being himself, Masaru supplied. What do you mean? How did you know? Izuku asked. Do you remember when we used to go hiking every weekend when the brat was still cool enough to be seen with us? Mitsuki started. At Izuku's nod, she continued. Well, one day when he was 5 and we were on a hike, he suddenly stopped. You know my kid as well as I do. So you know something had to have caught his attention. When we turned around, he was staring at this pair of birds, completely transfixed. They were Corturnix japicana, or Japanese quails. There were a pair of them playing around in a puddle. One of them was nuzzling the other, and the kid actually giggled. He looked at us and said, They love each other. They're mommy and daddy birds, just like you. Mitsuki paused to smile at the memory, eyes uncharacteristically misty. So I told him that they're actually both boy birds, so they're daddy and daddy, and still love each other very much, and we saw this light bloom on Kat's face. Masaru picked up the story from there. He looked at us with the brightest smile we'd ever seen on our boy, and excitedly told us that meant that one day, me and Izu can be the breeze. Masaru sniffled. Our little boy has always known exactly what he wants, and that day he told us, and we believed him, and we kept believing him. Izuku felt like his entire world was tipping on its axis. Kachan had known he was from such a young age, had included Izuku in that vision of himself and announced it with pride. I can't believe it was that easy, Izuku whispered. Masaru chuckled. That's our Kit Kat for you. He refuses to settle. He is relentless in his pursuits, and since he was 5, he decided that included you. Izuku was suddenly feeling braver than he'd felt in a while. Of course he would, with Kachan inspiring him. All right. So that was so sweet. I love that. It's actually been a while since I read through this, so I forgot how utterly cute this chapter was. And oh my gosh, it's just so adorable. Um, Anyways, remember to eat, sleep, drink your water, and take your meds. And when you sleep, go to bed at a reasonable time. You guys cannot clown on me because it is almost 6 p.m. So this will be Friday's video. Um, I think I might switch to just uploading every Friday at 4 p.m. I don't know, but maybe. So remember, kids, be do and crime gay.